I'm Dr. Akeranda Smith. I'm a life coach, professor, and a thought leader. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Ike, and happy summer solstice. I thought it would be really befitting to kind of talk about what that means and how that shows up in our life during this time. So, first thing is go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And if you find that you are finding value with my channel, share it with someone else that you think could benefit from it. Okay, so back to summer solstice. This is the longest day of the year and the beginning of summer. And I thought it would be really befitting to talk about how it connects to who we are as individuals and the work that we should be doing on ourselves. The element that is connected to summer is fire, of course. I'm from Georgia, and Georgia is a wonderful place to live because we get all four seasons. But I would like to say that summer is by far the most difficult season in Georgia because it's so humid, it's so hot. And what I've come to learn, come to love about summer actually is that very thing that I just mentioned, the element of fire. And it's a time for us to really connect with the chakra, the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is located right up under our heart and right above our navel. And this is the part of our energy center that really focuses on shame and the ego, of course, right? And so when you think about fire, I want to take you back to when you were a child. This is the part of your developmental stages where you were learning about will and the ability to take initiative over your environment and over yourself and over the things that are important to you. And if you're like myself, you probably didn't have much power or control over your environment or even your parent. I remember vividly growing up with a mother that is from the deep south. And I remember one day she had took me to get my hair done. And this was when hairdressers were a thing. And she took me to this place. I think it was maybe like Macy's or something at the time, but they had hair salons. It was really nice. You make an appointment, they wash your hair, the whole gamut. So my mom wanted to take me and get my hair done because my mom was fixated with my hair. First mistake, right? She wanted me to look like what she felt was appealing. So she used to always do my hair. And granted, it was neat, but she used to put tons of bows in my hair. I mean, I looked like a Cabbage Patch Kid. And if you know what a Cabbage Patch is, I probably just dated myself, but nonetheless, she would do my hair. That was her thing. And when she took me to the hairdresser, she picked me up, and I never shall forget because my cousin was with me at the time, like a second or third cousin, older than me. So when I looked up to, and so we were getting in the car, and my hair was curled to the nine. I mean, I looked like I was going to a pageant. I hated it. My mom looked back at me in the car and she said, "Why did you get your hair done like that?" And I'm thinking to myself, lady, you booked the appointment. You took me. You should have told the lady what you wanted her to do. I'm a child. I don't know. And of course, I knew I didn't have any agency over my head. So I dare not tell the lady how to do my hair. Of course not. So she looks at me and she said, "I don't like your hair." And no, she said, "Why did you get your hair done like that?" Tell me, why did I say this? I responded, "What is it to you?" Now, today, if my child had said that to me, I mean, it would have raised the eyebrow, but I wouldn't have responded like how my mom responded. So when I said that to my mom, she swung her head around and she said, "What did you say?" I said, And to think, right, me being brought up in this era, you would have thought that I would have known not to repeat it. I did, because that's what kids do, right? You think that, of course, it's innocent. I looked at my mom square in the eye and I said, what is it to you? She didn't ask me again. She took her hand, she flung it in the back of the car, hit me square in the middle of the head, hit me so hard that her ring on her hand, it made me start bleeding in the forehead. Needless to say, I was ashamed, embarrassed. First of all, it was done in front of my third cousin, who I looked up to. She, of course, dared not say anything. She was scared too. And I just rode home in silence. My mom never came back and apologized. And at that moment, what I realized is, looking back, and now as an adult, I had no control over my environment, over myself, over the things that mattered to me. And when you don't have control over your environment and the power to exert control over authority and your parents, you become an adult that is controlling, fiery, angry, explosive. You suppress the things that are important to you. You sometimes can be passive aggressive, and you hate conflict. And when you think that, you are being offended in any way, you exert yourself by sometimes exploding or shutting down, or better yet, trying to control the situation by just being aggressive. When it comes to control, we brag about it as if it's a badge of honor. Like, oh, I'm controlling. I just like things a certain way. But for the record, being controlling is not necessarily a good thing. It's a clear sign that you haven't had enough time in your developmental stages in order to be able to challenge authority and learn where your boundaries are. And when you don't learn where your boundaries are as a child and you become an adult, guess what? You don't have any boundaries. You struggle with boundaries. You put them up and you move them, and you get mad when someone crosses them. But the truth of the matter is, you didn't make it important. And so, what I learned in that season of my life as I began to heal and I look back at my childhood, I looked at so many instances where I was told what to do. And I'm going to be honest, I was often very ashamed. I've come to realize that some of the most confident children and confident adults are people who, as a child, could exert authority over their parent. Not to be rude and disrespectful, but in an effort to learn where their boundaries are. And a lot of parents don't have the courage to allow their kids to challenge them because their ego is more important, right? And when your ego is important, then your child misses the lesson because they have to now navigate the fact that if they say something out of pocket, you are probably going to offend them because you need to feel important and have power. And anytime you have to have power, your child cannot learn how to advocate for themselves, which in turn builds up a lot of resentment. And so you have children and adults who go up in the world and they try to control situations and circumstances and spaces in order to feel powerful because they never got power, well, a taste of it rather, in an age in which they learned how to manage it. So during this time in summer, I want you to think about where are the areas in your life where you need to surrender. Where are the areas in your life where you probably have too much control in ways that don't necessarily serve you? And most importantly, take time to go back and revisit your youth. And most importantly, your inner child. Look at the times in your life where you felt shame for just being a child, for just wanting to be important in your own right and have power over the things that were important to you. But for whatever reason, your parent couldn't allow you that little piece of heaven that you needed in order to become more of yourself. I want you to think about, how are you seeking support? How are the people in your life helping you to be a positive mirror? But most importantly, how are you advocating for yourself to overcome your fears? And whether you know it or not, when you're controlling, that is a fear. It's a fear of letting go. It's a fear that if you allow something in your life or someone in your life to maybe even just help you, that you'll feel like that you're losing something. And that's not always the case. So my hope for you, as you are enjoying your summer fun and reflecting and traveling, that when you find yourself experiencing heat in the sun and you're enjoying all that summer has to bring, I hope that you find a little moment to reflect on this, what I'm telling you, and allow yourself to give yourself a little bit of self compassion and know that everything is working out just as it should. Thank you for watching. And as always, see you next time.